Woof. What's up? Bradley sunglasses in the
Welcome.
chat.
Yeah, it's a bright and sunny Sunday for a record with our old
Hmm.
pals here. It's
We're
been a little
back.
bit of a minute since we've
Hey,
recorded and
nephews.
together. Hello. Not a minute
Hope your
since we've
holiday was
seen our
safe.
faces. But yes, we're recording post 4th of July here. A little bit of a
We're
summer
in our
vibe.
freedom and birthday hangovers.
Yes, it was my day of birth on the 4th of July. For
Hmm.
those who don't know, I was hanging out with
Hmm.
my brother from Oklahoma here in
His brother.
Portland. We opened some Pokemon cards
Hmm.
and had a grand old time.
Good old
Wait,
fashioned. Did you get those sunglasses for your birthday?
I did not. No, these are my wife's.
Nice. How many packs of Pokemon cards did you guys open? Would you say
A lot.
a lot?
I bought a booster box, Chris. Do you
A
know what
booster
that
box?
is?
I
The
know I
that
know what
is
boosters are. I used
That
to
is
buy them all the
essentially the
time.
display from the store that's
Hmm.
filled with all of the booster packs. I bought an entire box of them, so that
A
was like
brick,
36
a,
packs
a carton.
on its own. And my
Sound like a
brother
smoker.
also, yeah, I know, yeah. It is a bit of a gambling problem.
Hmm. It's
Yeah.
gambling for children.
Yeah, but we had some good polls. It was a good
Nice.
time. Shout out to my brother. He just started a Pokemon based Instagram account.
Oh, interesting.
He's a PhD in biology, so he started an account where he's blending Pokemon and studying the biology of them. I
Oh,
will link
interesting.
it down below for those who are interested. It is actually quite cool.
That is pretty cool.
Professor Gold Pokemon is
Cool.
the account.
Nice.
He just did one on my favorite Pokemon, Heracross, which is pretty
Ah,
fun.
I thought your favorite Pokemon was one of the smokers. You seem to have a thing for smokers, like the Smoky Boys, the Floaty Boys.
I also like Haunter. I have Haunter tattooed on myself as
Uh,
well. Yeah.
for some reason, I thought you were like a wheezy guy, a wheezing, coughing
Wheezing, I do
guy.
like Wheezing. Not in my like top 50 probably, but who's your favorite Pokemon, Chris?
I had Pokemon Yellow as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, so I
Yeah.
have to say it's Pikachu. I'm a Pikachu boy.
Pikachu, that is
A
very
Pikachu
basic,
boy.
but
It is
very
very
cool.
basic. Right down the middle. Yeah.
And
We
I also like Mickey Mouse.
yeah. Yeah. I was gonna try to name a Digimon, but then I honestly couldn't remember Digimon.
Agumon,
Oh shit.
Patamon,
Mm,
Gabumon.
you got me
There's
on it.
three for you just off the dome.
Give us a fourth.
21.
Angelmon,
Good
I
guess.
think that is one.
Who knows?
Let us know in the comments if you're into
Hmm.
Digimon. We're not here to talk about Pokemon. We're not here
No.
to talk about Digimon though, Chris. We're here to talk about episode 17 of
Ooh,
season 2 of a little cartoon called King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
That's what this show is about,
Yes. This is
right?
a good one. This is a
I
really good
liked
one.
this episode. It was very fun.
I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching this. I enjoyed writing up this one up.
Yes, this
It's
episode is
good.
called Hank's Dirty Laundry and it is about porn. But before
Hmm.
that, we are gonna start us off with a little bit of
It's
a
also about
segment.
laundry.
It's
It's about
also
more
about
than porn.
laundry. It's also about birthdays. So
It's about birthdays and
speaking
it's
of
about the
birthdays,
beast.
yes, the beast.
Yeah.
We'll get into all of it, but first we're gonna talk about what was going
Hmm.
on in the world at the time of this episode's airing
Yes.
in our favorite intro segment. This week in Arlen, we forgot to open our brews, brother. We're off our game here. This
We're
episode
rusty.
aired on March 1st of
Hmm.
98. We're already approaching the spring.
Hmm.
That's
It's
kind
almost
of
springtime.
nice. Starting it off with a peek at the TV guide as we always do. Anything stand out here to you, my friend?
Disney is airing or they're doing a rerun up
Yeah,
on ABC of
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas,
Now,
which
is
I
that
liked a
movie
lot as a kid.
problematic?
I think the internet now does say that yes, it is problematic. It's
Yeah.
apologetics and whitewashing, I believe. But that's a lot of Disney.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
there's
an
some.
enjoyable movie.
It's
There's a
enjoyable.
cute little raccoon.
There's a raccoon. There's a pug. There's
What's
a
the raccoon's name?
hummingbird. Um, I can't remember.
Like Busty or Musty or
He's always eating stuff and stealing things,
yeah.
like you expect a good raccoon to do. But yeah, there's like the pug and yeah, a hummingbird
Miko, I
and
was close.
Miko.
Yeah.
Couple of good songs in Pocahontas too. Paint with all the colors of the
Yeah,
wind.
yep.
Let's see.
That is a good
Braveheart
one.
is also on.
Braveheart on TV. That's a really long movie, right?
That is a long movie. That's going to be going into yeah,
With
way past the
commercial
bedtime
breaks?
hours.
Yeah. Probably not. Probably not for me.
What's happened on Truckers?
This one's called Truck Love. I'm really interested in that because one of the episodes was just called Truckers a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was just called Truckers.
Interested to see what that is, but have not
Hmm.
looked it up yet. Maybe I'll report back next week. All right, already again with the answering machine
Yeah, with the answering
this
machine.
time. Wonder what that one's about.
I bet you it's answering machine related
Yeah.
troubles, the little
Which there's a really
misconnections.
famous Seinfeld episode about answering machines. Remember
Is there?
answering machines?
Yes. How many unlistened to voicemails do you have in your inbox
Currently?
right now?
None.
I have 114 voicemails.
That you haven't listened to?
No, they're just marked as unlistened to. I just haven't cleared them out.
What are you doing over there? What does your inbox look like? What's your email inbox look like? Are you an inbox
Uh,
zero type of guy?
my work inbox, yes, I do keep very tidy. My personal inbox, no.
Same. Yeah, my
Yes.
my work inbox is like immaculate. The other one's just filled with spam and porn
I
links,
mean,
much like this episode.
your
I'm in the
inbox is
beast. I'm a
it's
member of the
overflowing.
beast. But we
Um,
got the answering machine episode. I do have a couple things on my end to point out. So a
yes.
quick
What are you seeing?
Simpsons check. We've got a very mid episode to my recollection. This one is about Mo falling in love with a flower vendor named Renee and committing insurance fraud.
Hmm. Sounds fun.
Yeah. Homer gets arrested, uh, taking the fall for Mo.
Oh no.
It's not a great episode.
Mm.
There was also up here on ABC, there was a
Hmm.
special called Celebration of Hope
I was wondering what
about
that was.
Christopher Reeve. The description says celebrities salute the actor at a benefit for the Christopher Reeve Foundation. Robin Williams, Paul McCartney, Gloria Estefan, Stevie Wonder, a star-studded event.
Wow.
Yes. Christopher Reeve, of course, fell off of a horse,
Is that what happened to him?
and isn't it?
I don't know.
He fell off of a horse and he got like severely injured.
I know that yes, there was something that happened to Christopher Reeve. What was it? Let's figure it out
Injured
right
his
now.
spinal cord, fell from a horse during a competition. Boom! Who's
Okay.
the Christopher Reeve expert on the pod, bitch?
I'm a bad Christopher.
How do you feel about it?
Bad Christopher.
Know your Chris's. We also had this week, not on this night of television, but earlier in the week, a classic episode of Friends
Hmm.
airing. It was during the period where Ross was engaged to the British lady,
Mm-hmm.
and he accidentally says Rachel's name at the wedding. It's the
Oh.
one with all the rugby. It's the one where
Mm.
Ross goes and plays rugby to try to impress his British beau.
Interesting.
I know you're not a Friends guy, but for any of our nephews that enjoy Friends, that episode aired this week.
Okay. Interesting.
We also had a movie called Dark City coming
Hmm.
out. This is about a man awakening alone in a strange hotel and finding he is wanted for a series of murders, but he
Hmm.
can't remember whether he committed the murders or not.
Hmm.
It's a pretty good
That
premise, right?
that sounds like a Philip K. Dick novel, honestly. I mean, it sounds pretty interesting, but
Yeah,
sound I'd give it a
I'd check it
watch.
out. I'd check it out. We also had a movie coming out with Richard Dreyfuss and Jenna Elfman called Kippendorf's Tribe. If you'll just look at this very problematic looking poster and still from the film, this movie looks a little interesting.
It looks very interesting.
It says after squandering his grant money, despondent and recently widowed anthropologist James Krippendorf must produce hard evidence of the existence of a heretofore undiscovered New Guinea tribe. He makes up a bunch of rituals and dresses up
Okay.
like a shaman to try to scam people into getting grant money.
Interesting. Okay.
It
Okay. And
has a 17% on Rotten
is
Tomatoes.
Jenna Elfman helping him do this?
I think she might be the love interest in this film. Yeah,
Ah,
she might like work for the like
okay.
grant office or something. But yeah. We also had Kurt and Courtney, which
Mm.
was a documentary about their
Mm-hmm.
relationship for some reason.
Yeah,
Titanic was still number one in the
of
box
course.
office.
Of
So there
course.
was there was a lot of trash coming out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a quick peek at the charts,
Speaking of Titanic.
yeah, we have a few new songs here, one of them being My Heart Will Go On
Mm-hmm.
by Celine Dion, the
Still,
Titanic song.
you still hear that song today.
Yeah, it really kind of like transcends the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind
Yeah, it
of
definitely
bigger than the
does.
film for sure.
Yeah.
Also getting jiggy with it.
Mm-hmm. Also from Titanic.
Yes.
If you
It's-
if you watch the director's cut, this is what's playing in the car scene.
Yeah, there's a deleted scene where Will Smith comes up and he shows up on the boat and does a performance of getting jiggy with it.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that they should have kept it in the film, but I can understand why people say it didn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 90s were a different time. Moving
Definitely.
on. It was Billy Joel Armstrong's
Mm.
26th birthday.
One of Kane and the Stubborn Stains.
Yes, a King of
Mm-hmm.
the Hill alum.
Wow, he was
Yes.
26 at this time.
26, a young man.
Damn.
And Green Day had already released like four albums, I think, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good for
Impressive.
him. It was also Michael Jordan's 36th birthday.
Wow. What a difference.
36.
What a difference
Second.
10 years makes between Billy Joel
Yeah.
and Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Michael Jordan on his
Mm-hmm.
way to winning his sixth championship
Mm-hmm.
in 8 years
On his way to a gambling
this year.
addiction.
No, he was deep, deep into that at this point.
Oh, already there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people say that's the reason that he didn't play in 94 and 95, 93 and 94, 94 and 95. It was a suspension from the league.
Mm.
Yeah.
You think
I
they
don't
kept it
I don't
hushed?
quite buy it. I don't quite
Mm.
buy it. Rounding it out here with a little bit of true crime
Okay.
news today. We had a love triangle murder. A woman named Diane Zamora, a
Mm-hmm.
former U.S. Naval Academy midshipwoman and
Mm-hmm.
convicted murderer.
Ooh.
Yes, there was a little bit of a love triangle situation between this guy, Graham here,
Mm-hmm.
David Graham. He
David
cheated on her with this woman. Uh, what is her
named
first
Jones.
name? Yes, last name of Jones.
Jessica
And
Jones? Adrienne? Adrienne Jessica Jones?
yes, yes,
I'm reading your notes.
yeah, yeah. uh, Essentially, she got jealous and killed this other woman.
Okay.
And she was convicted of murder on this day.
Okay.
The trial, I guess it was like a pretty public trial. I think public trials were becoming more of a thing because of the whole
Mm-hmm.
OJ trial being televised.
Yeah.
And this was some hot news at the time.
Okay. So the cover of People says teen love and murder. Where does that play in? Were they young or something?
Yes, yeah, they were young. I think they were like
Hmm.
fresh out of high school, like naval cadets.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. The Graham guy, I think, was in on it,
Mm-hmm.
and he like picked the woman up while the other girl hid in the back of the car,
Oh
and they like
my.
drove her out to a remote area and killed her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
tragic.
Just because she cheated, and the guy was like, "I'm sorry, babe.
I'll help you kill her.
I'll fucking kill her, I guess." But yeah, that'll pretty much do it for this week in Arlen. I always like to end it on a high note, on a really uplifting
Mm-hmm.
note before you
Yeah.
do your episode recap.
Nice.
Let's get into King of the
Sweet.
Hill.
me get the mower started here.
Let's talk about King of the Hill now.
Let's get into it, bro. So yeah, this is season 2, episode 17, Hank's Dirty Laundry. It came out March 1st, excuse me, of
Uh,
1998. Your director here is, of course, Wes Archer, but we also have directing on this Sean Cashman. Um,
wow, the
yes, the
Cashman.
Cashman, yes, Sean Cashman. Um,
Is it
pretty
Cashman?
Cashman, yes. Um, Cashman, Kashmir. Uh,
Cashman.
let's see. He does for King of the Hill. He's going to direct 9 episodes, but he's going to be involved in the art department of 10 episodes.
Oh,
Sean Cashman is also an animator. Spends a lot of time in the art departments. His credits are kind of split between directing and art departments in various capacities.
mm,
He's pretty well known for Big City Greens, which is a Disney show on now. I don't
nice.
know if you watch it
I
or
don't
you've heard of
watch
it.
it, but I know that Caldwell from Not
Hmm.
Another D&D podcast worked on that, right?
Yes. So yeah,
Shout out.
yes, he did. Yeah, the Cashman is involved in this. He also is involved in the Penguins of Madagascar. He also directs Chowder and did some work with
Huh,
the Cartoon Network
nice.
show Chowder. I don't know if
Yeah.
you ever watched that. It's a good one.
Not like religiously, but
Hmm.
I did enjoy
Yes, he's also
occasionally.
the Cashman is really heavily involved in the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, another
Hmm.
Cartoon Network original. I don't know. Were you into that show?
No, I think those were all kind of like I was a little too
Mm,
old and they didn't feel as like regular show kind of felt
yeah,
almost like it was for adults.
yeah.
I think those shows I just like kind of missed them.
You would probably really like the Grim Adventures of
Yeah.
Billy and Mandy. It's very stupid. It's got a lot of darkness and it's very funny. If you like Courage the Cowardly Dog,
I
you'll
fucking love
probably
Courage.
you'll probably like Grim
Yeah.
Adventures.
I
It's
love those
it's way
old
funnier.
Cartoon Network shows. So
Hmm.
like Johnny Bravo,
Yeah.
Powerpuff Girls. They
Um,
had some good shit on that
Okay.
network.
Well, you need to check out Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy
All right.
then, because you're
Maybe
missing
I
out,
will.
dog. It's
Maybe I
hilarious.
will.
Um,
Maybe I will,
I
Chris.
in my research here, I discovered a project very far back on Mr. Cashman's credits on IMDb. It is a movie called Galactic Gigolo.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think he like directed, produced, and acted in it, and it's about like an alien who
Whoa.
like wins a contest to come to Earth, and like he's like like his contest is like he gets to come to Earth and have sex with a bunch of people, or like that's what he decides to
Shit.
do when he comes to Earth. So it's
It
kind
has
of
a
like,
3.4 on IMDb and a
mhm,
43 on Rotten Tomatoes.
ooh, interesting dichotomy there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it's like a parody spoof film type
Yeah.
of sexploit. Maybe it's like a spoof of a sexploit. I didn't look that much far into it, but sometimes I like to scroll to the very bottom of people's credits and see like what was
Yeah.
their first stuff. And yeah, this one, Galactic Gigolo, caught my eye.
I'm
Very
seeing it
interesting.
on VHS for pretty
Hmm.
cheap. Do I
Hmm.
do I get it and watch it?
Maybe.
It's a
Um,
low budget sex comedy.
okay.
That's what it says on Rotten
Are
Tomatoes.
you about to order some
Uh,
porno?
it's corny, lowbrow, and lame beyond belief.
Interesting. So yes, order it.
That's what
Um,
the that's what the, that's what the review says. Wow,
interesting.
people really fucking hate this movie.
Okay.
That's all.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Well,
it.
well, that's Sean Cashman. He's directing on this one. We've also got writing on this is, of course, Judge Daniels, and this also we have Jonathan Idell and Glenn Berger writing
Mm.
on this. Idell and Berger, we've talked about them many times before. They're going to go on to co-EP King of the Hill for seasons 2 through 7. They're still very involved in writing, producing, directing today. You'll know their projects like the Trolls franchise, the
Yeah,
Kung Fu Panda
we've covered
franchise.
them.
We've covered them. The SpongeBob movies, yeah. So Jonathan Idell and Glenn Berger are writing on this as well. With I think Hardwick gets editing credits too. He's
Nice.
usually credited as a writer or storyline editor. But anyways, yeah. Into the Sode. Hot open. We're opening with a shot. It's really idyllic. Hank is
Yeah, I
driving in
like
his
this.
truck.
Some very
Um,
American music playing.
mhm. America the Beautiful. He's humming America the Beautiful. Butterflies, birds chirping. It's a nice day. He's seeing all his neighbors. You wait.
Wholesome.
He waves at Dale. Dale's got a metal detector. He waves at Bill. Bill gives him the trucker honk sign.
Yep.
Hank
Classic.
honks. And then we see Peggy folding laundry, and it's a damn nice, fine day
Yeah.
until Hank pulls up to the house and sees that his underwear are on the clothesline drying. Um,
Hank's dirty laundry.
Hank's dirty laundry is out for the neighborhood to see.
Really good kind of setup for the
Hmm.
episode, I thought. There's a
Right
lot
off
of
the bat.
this in the
Mhm.
in the episode. I
Yeah, the writing,
enjoyed.
I liked this one all the way through. It's very nice. Yeah, Hank's dirty laundry is on the line. He says, those are my private undergarments. Now the whole neighborhood knows I wear them.
Like you don't want
Um,
people to know that you wear underwear?
yes, which I think is a funny tie-in for some of the themes to this, in that like
Yeah.
everybody already knows type of thing. But
Yeah.
we'll get into it. But yeah, Hank's underwear is out on the line, and Peggy is like,
He's a boxer's man.
he's a boxer's man.
Yeah.
Uh, we Peggy's going to get onto him because the dryer is broken.
Yeah.
That's going to be storyline number one of this episode, is the broken dryer. So
Yes.
the dryer is broken. Peggy tells him that it's actually moistening their clothes now, which is pretty funny. Um, and then we get a really interesting Luann shot. Um,
Yeah.
we get nice. That's going to be a good sound for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do
Luann
see.
in her underwear alert,
Mhm.
folks.
It's a funny visual as Hank goes to take the
Yeah.
stuff off the clothesline. Then Luann
And
is
Luann is
behind him,
standing there
um,
in
in
her
her skivvies.
skivvies.
Hmm. Very funny. Um, so we cut to Megalomart, and Bobby is watching clothes spin in the dryer, and he's like,
Hmm.
"This is just like a TV show, except
Deleted.
it's a show about wet clothes."
We have a little deleted scene here as they show
Already,
up as they're walking into Megalomart. Hank is picking up carts that people have left out, and then he just wheels an entire line of them into the store and walks past like a kid who works there and is supposed to be doing that, who's just
that's
like on his
funny.
smoke break. So Hank is just like cleaning up the parking lot.
Very Hank Hill of him.
Yep.
Nice. I can see why that would have been cut for time, though.
Yeah.
Um, I think the
Throwaway
audience,
gag.
I think the audience believes he did that without seeing it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Bobby's watching the dryer, and Hank asks, the salesman a question. He's like, "Can you tell me the difference between propane and electric dryers?" And the
The
salesman
setup.
goes, "Yeah." The salesman gets half a sentence out. He says, "Well, propane dryers are a little bit cheaper," and Hank immediately cuts him off.
He's like,
And
ah,
yeah, he's like,
at
"Let me
first.
let me tell you where you're wrong," which was very funny. Yeah. Um, we cut away from that interaction to see Luann goes up to say hi to Buckley, who has been promoted to greeter. Buckley's
Spectacular. I loved
Buckley's
this.
uh, Buckley's just standing at the door going, "Hey,"
Hey,
that's his
hey.
greeting.
She says,
Now,
when did you get promoted to greeter? And he says, yesterday. Hey,
hey,
day.
day. Yeah, it's very funny. So Buckley's just
Excellent
saying,
gag.
"Hey." Yes, very nice.
We don't get a lot of Buckley, but every time we do, I love it.
Mhm. We get just enough Buckley.
I hope we get more of him in the future. I hope he doesn't go away.
Buckley is voiced by David Herman,
Ah,
reoccurring voice actor. He'll pop up again this episode.
nice.
After we see Buckley, we cut back over to Hank and the salesman, and Hank is like, "And that's why you should do it now with the cost of electric." And the salesman is like, "Oh, great!" So they head to
Gives
the
him his
register,
card.
gives him his card. Yeah, Hank gives the salesman his card. Um, so they go to the register, and the guy's like, "Do you want to apply for a credit card, a store credit card?" And Hank's like, "No, I've got enough." And Peggy's like, "Well, hold on, 10%, zero down, blah, blah, blah."
Just the
And
10% discount, it kind of pays for
mhm,
itself, you know? First
well,
purchase. If you're going to be making a large purchase like that, Chris, it is smart. And Hank said that he only has one credit card, and it's
he
actually
does.
important to have multiple lines of credit, Chris.
It's
See,
important to
that's
have
how you build
17
credit.
credit
You have to
cards.
use the credit,
Hmm.
and you have to have a certain amount of credit uh paid off.
Yes, it doesn't
Y-
matter how much you have in savings. It's all about
Yeah.
your credit score. It's a very
And that,
fair and logical system.
yes, and that has been credit advice
Brad. Brad's
with,
advice again was open 17 credit cards and max them all out.
yes, you
Buying ostrich meat.
Yeah, shout out American Ostrich
Uh,
Farms. Use code Hill Kings.
Well, Hank thinks this is going to be a good idea because if Chuck Mangione likes it, then it's okay by him because his diet shakes were good.
Yeah, did you look into that? Did he actually have diet shakes?
No, I did not check to see if he had diet shakes or not. We cut over to the food court and Bobby walks up to Luann. He's like, "Hey, Luann." Bobby says, "Hey" to Buckley, and Buckley doesn't say anything back. And Luann says
Hmm.
it's because he's on his break. So he won't say "Hey" when he's on his break. Um,
He can't. He's being paid to say hello to people.
yeah. Bobby is here comes storyline number two.
This
Bobby tells Luann that he thinks Hank and Peggy have brought him here because they're shopping for his birthday present. His birthday is a month away, but why else would you take a kid to Megalomart that close to their birthday if it wasn't to buy their present? So Bobby is just
very sweet,
really excited for his birthday in a month.
very innocent.
Luann is like, I'm pretty sure they're just here for a dryer. And Bobby is like, well, if you see him, tell him I'm, over in the dirt bikes holding a Toblerone. Um,
Yeah, he thinks the dryer thing is just like the perfect cover.
he thinks it's cover. He thinks they're there to scout and see what Bobby wants. So Bobby's gonna go out and interact with stuff so
Yeah,
that they get the idea of what he wants for his birthday.
I
Yeah.
definitely did that as a kid.
Yes. Or yeah, that thought was in my head. Like my birthday's coming up. They gotta know. Um,
I
so
did look into the diet shake thing. Couldn't find anything.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, so we get cut back to Hank and Peggy, and Hank's credit has been rejected.
Sad face.
Frowny face. Hank's like, I have perfect credit. And the salesman is like, I know a frowny face when I see one. And they turn it around and it just says Hank Hill frowny
It's
face.
really funny.
And
Very, very in-depth and elaborate credit check.
yes. And Peggy is just like, oh, we'll cut a check. And the guy's like, sorry, we can't take checks from people with bad credit. Um, which is very funny. And then as this bombshell gets dropped on the hills, they
Yeah.
get hit in the head with some foam balls that are shot by Bobby, who's like, shooting the little foam balls.
And he's
And
like riding around on something too.
he's riding a bike
Yeah.
and shooting foam balls. And he's like, I'm having the time of my life and it's all on sale.
Very
Um,
subtle.
yeah. So we cut to the next day over at Strickland Propane. Hank is using the company resources to get a credit check done.
Yeah.
Mr. Strickland's going to walk in on this and be like, I'll take the ten bucks out of your paycheck to run credit. Cause Hank's like, how can you run my credit? I have to give my credit company permission. And the lady's
Yeah.
like, no, it just takes a processing fee. Um, of course,
Anyone
Strickland is
can
going to
do
charge
it.
him. Anyone can do it. Anyone can look at your credit and your information if they will really want to, which is going to come back later on.
Yeah.
Um, they find the kink in Hank's credit. He owes $40 to Arlen Video. Um, we immediately cut over to Arlen Video. It's Hank, Peggy, and Bobby there. The clerk here at Arlen Video is going to be played by Billy West, who we
Yeah, yeah.
talked about before.
Does he do multiple voices in this episode?
On this episode, he's just listed as the clerk.
I think he
Um,
might have also been the sales guy at Megalomart.
yeah,
'Cause That
potentially.
that did I made a note that that also sounded like Billy West, and I
Yeah,
think there might even be another character that he could possibly be voicing in this episode.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's not listed on IMDb, but there's a lot of uncredited stuff in here. I actually think we get an uncredited Cheryl appearance in this one too.
Our girl.
Our girl. Um, yes. So, um, where are we? Arlen Video. Yes. He's like, no, you rented cuffs and collars on June 23rd, and Hank's like, that's not possible. I always return my videos. Hank says that he's returned the Great Santini 23 times.
Yeah,
Did you
I
did
didn't
you
I
look at the
didn't
Great Santini?
I did. I had never seen this movie before, but it's like a fighter pilot movie with Robert
Mm-hmm.
Duvall.
Yeah, so it's Robert
It's got a
Duvall.
95% on Rotten
Mm-hmm.
Tomatoes too.
It seems to be pretty well loved. It's also Michael O'Keefe,
Okay.
who plays Danny Noonan in Caddyshack,
Aha.
which is the my first booby movie. But anyways,
Booby movie. Mine was
um,
what was the one that Cashman did?
I can't remember. We've talked about it before. Um, but
Well, we were talking about
Galactic
it like 10 minutes ago.
Galactic Gigolo, I think, was the
Got it.
first movie that
Yep.
you saw. Yep.
Yep.
Um, The Great Santini, though, I watched the trailer. It seems to be a pretty interesting movie. It's essentially about a hard ass military dad,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and his oldest son kind of plays the other main character, and it's about the dynamic of this family, and kind of how this hard ass man runs his family. But yeah, he's a fighter pilot. He goes by the Great Santini. Um,
It's
the
based on
dad
a novel.
The dad does. Couple of lines that stood out to me in the trailer because in the 90s they were doing the like this summer in the like trailer shit. So
Only on home video.
yeah, so some of the lines from the trailer there was he was a hero to his family, but not a father. And I wrote down four lines here. There's also he was a man of war in a time of peace.
Oh.
He knew how he knew how to fight, but he forgot how to love.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
And the best line, my favorite one of the trailer was the bravest thing he ever did was let his family love him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this movie,
Uh,
The Great Santini, seems to be very well regarded. And it's
yeah.
funny to me that Hank would watch this movie so much because this would
Yeah, it's
probably
about
be
like
him by proxy having a
yeah.
relationship with his dad in his head.
Yeah. That's
Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
I
he's got
I wish it was like that with me and Cotton.
mhm. Hank's got
That's
perfect
hilarious.
credit and he always returns his movies. But yeah, they're like cuffs and collars, cuffs and collars. What is
Now,
this?
did you look up cuffs and collars, Chris?
I did not. Did
Because
you?
I did.
Oh, did you? Researching.
It's not real. I
Yeah,
did find a men's boutique in Boston, Massachusetts called Cuffs and Collars, though,
interesting.
but
Um,
like more like suit collars and
yeah, not a bondage store, not a
yeah,
leather shop. Cuffs and
yeah,
collars could be a leather shop or a
yeah,
high-end suit place.
yeah, or a sex toy
Hmm.
emporium.
Yeah, Hank is like, Peggy, did you rent this? And Peggy is like, nuh-uh. Unless it has the words Merchant Ivory or Billy Crystal at the top, I'm
Yeah.
not watching it. Did you
Oh,
look into
Peggy.
Merchant Ivory at all?
I did not, but I Billy
Just
Billy Crystal I knew.
yeah, Billy Crystal, of course, American actor and comedian, famous for When Harry Met Sally. He's
Comic relief.
comic relief. He's motherfucking Mike Wazowski from
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. Billy Crystal, yeah, SNL in 84, 85, still working. I think he hosted the Emmys like 9 times, which is one
Yeah.
of the main like tropes and jokes about Billy Crystal now is like as an award show host.
He's in
Um,
When Harry Met Sally too, right?
he's Harry.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, uh yes, but then yeah, so that's Billy Crystal, and then the Merchant Ivory that Peggy references is the Merchant Ivory Production Company, which was a film genre or a film production company started in the 60s by two gay men that were kind of life
Oh.
partners and film partners. But Merchant Ivory now is kind of its own genre defining term. Merchant
Hmm.
Ivory now goes like is kind of the descriptor of like period pieces that are like
Hmm.
centered around typically they all take place in a house, and then they're centered around they're usually English, but they're kind of like centered around like drama, melodrama, and like there's not a lot of action to them. It's all interpersonal, but it's like
Interesting.
it's kind of
So
its
fucking snooze fest, dude.
Peggy likes
Is that
boring.
what you're saying? Peggy
Peggy
likes fucking dumb, boring idiot shit.
mhm. Yes, so Hank is like, well, I bet you it's still on the shelf. Where's it at? um and
Is it
oh,
an
Bob.
action comedy? Action?
Yes. Um, we cut over to a quick aside to Bobby and Luann. Bobby is like, "Oh, they're getting me a movie." Um, Hank asks Bobby if he's seen Cuffs and Collars, and Bobby is like, "Is that the one where the cop is da 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 da?" And Bobby recites a whole movie, and
Yeah.
Hank is like, "So you have seen it?" And Bobby's like, "No," which
And
was
he
funny.
thinks that they're there to buy him a movie.
Uh,
Luann, I love that Luann is like slowly also becoming convinced of it. Like she
mhm.
starts off being like, "No, I'm pretty sure they're just buying a dryer." And
Yeah,
then she's like, "Wait, maybe they are." She's just so impressionable and then she's just helping.
Yeah.
So good.
She gets caught up in it, but before Hank even gets back to the section, there's a little more exchange at the counter, and Hank is like, "Well, we never rented it, so you can take the charge off." And he says, "You can penalize yourself however you think is fair,"
Yeah.
which I thought was good. He's saying like, who are you calling a liar, me or the machine? Because I want to know whose ass to kick.
Yeah.
Which is
Where's the
always,
ass on this thing?
yeah. The guy says, "I'm not calling you a liar." Yeah, and Hank's like, "Where's the ass on this thing?" That was one of my favorite lines.
Yeah. Excellent.
Um, but yeah, Peggy is just like, "Hank, just pay the $40 so we can get the dryer." Like, Peggy just wants this cleared up and gone away. But yeah, then Hank is like, "I bet it's still on the shelf. Tell me where to find it." We see Hank walk through a beaded curtain
Yep.
under an adults only section sign, and immediately we get a nice bois as he runs out and gets tangled up in the beads. He has realized that Cuffs and Collars is an adult film.
Yep.
Uh, and we get a quick catch of Nancy and John Redcorn seeing him come out of the adult
Yeah.
section, and they're shaking their
They're
heads.
judging him, and they have a
Mhm.
stack of movies, so they're obviously in for a night of. This is before Netflix and chill was a
Mhm.
thing, children. You
Yes.
would go to the video store and you would rent a movie, and then you would go home and you would put it in a VHS player,
Yes.
or as
I've
some people call them, VCRs.
Ooh. Yeah, I forgot
Yes.
to mention this whole scene takes place in a video store, which younger generations might not know about, but I'm sure the young generations love hearing about stuff that they don't know about anymore. Um,
Do you remember going into video stores that had
Hell yeah, dude.
sections like this?
No, actually, none of ours
Really?
did around here.
The one in
Well,
my hometown in Canada had an adult section. I remember sneaking into it when I was like 7.
and you saw some like boobies on the
Yeah.
cover?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, hilarious. Was that like a game for you guys to like, you go in there, you go in there?
I think that was the only time I did it.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I remember it vividly. They had cuffs and collars right there.
Mm-hmm. It was all cuffs and collars, actually.
Mhm.
Um, no, we never had one that had a distinct section, but Family Video, which was another franchise bias, they would
Mhm.
have like some really, really low grade, like D-list type scary movie stuff, kind of like
Yeah.
softcore, s- sex spoof type of stuff, kind of like
Yeah.
Galactic Gigolo. They would have shit like that. They wouldn't have straight up porn, but they would have
Yeah.
dumb stuff like Galactic Gigolo. So yeah, that is our first commercial break, actually.
A
Is
nice
Hank's face.
bois, a
Hmm.
bois cliffhanger, a cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. We come back from commercial. You like that one?
We have to start calling it a cliffhanger.
A cliffhanger. Um, we come back from the commercial break, and we're at the house. Peggy is like, "Let's just pay this." Hank is like, "No, I didn't do this." He was like, Hank is very adamant. He does not rent these movies, which of course
Yeah.
Hank does not watch porn.
He's
Um,
already trying to establish an alibi.
yeah, he
And
is. He's
Peggy is
like,
like, "No, I went to play Boggle at Nancy's that day and
"Mm,
I left you home alone."
I left you alone. But yeah, that's very funny.
Peggy's
Hank is super
already
upset.
suspicious. Peggy thinks that he watched the porn.
Hmm. But Peggy, at this point, she says she doesn't care. She's like, Hank,
Yeah.
I don't care if you do. Just tell, like, we just want to get it. But then we get her like flip flopping back and
Yeah.
forth. She's
She
like, I
definitely
don't
cares.
care. And Hank is like, it's important to me that you trust me when I say that I didn't do this. And Peggy says, I trust you, but I have one question. Did you rent the movie? She
I
doesn't
trust
believe
you, but
him.
obviously I don't believe you.
I trust you, but I don't believe you. Bobby overhears this discussion in the kitchen and thinks that they're planning a surprise party for him.
Yeah. He overhears specifically the part where it's like, we can't let Bobby find out about this.
Yes.
And
And
he's
so that,
like, ah.
mhm,
And this is where Luann starts to really like kind of
mhm.
forget the whole fact that she knows that they're not buying him a
Yes.
gift, but she just kind of goes along with it.
She's like, maybe I do know. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Convinces herself that
Uh-huh.
this is this is so funny.
This is storyline number 3, by the way, is the porno tape.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so we've got the dryer, we've got Bobby's birthday, and we've got the porno tape. There will be one more storyline revealed later, but yeah, we cut over to the alley, and Dale is like, "Hey, Nancy was telling me she ran into John Redcorn and they saw you
And
with
he's like
cuffs and
laughing
collars.
at Hank.
Yes. It's very funny that Dale says Nancy said she ran into John Redcorn when they're clearly there
He
together.
always seems to conveniently run into him, huh?
Conveniently, their genitals run into each other a lot.
Over and over again.
Yeah. Boomhauer is like, man, old cuffs and collars, man, get to that cool, clean and see now. Come on, waka chicka, waka chicka, waka chicka. Very funny. Boomhauer
Yeah.
doing the porn bass line.
We also find out that Bill is morally opposed to porn. He hates it. He's so
Yes.
mad at Hank for watching porn.
Bill
Bill
is
would never.
disgusted. Bill would never. Yes, Bill, exactly. Bill would never. Bill's putting on a big show. He says it's disgusting, it's demeaning. He says it sets an unfair standard of beauty for today's male.
Yeah.
So he
Penis size.
Yeah.
We're talking about dick size, kids.
Makes Bill feel incompetent. And so he's disgusted by it, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Hank is like, I'm not gonna let my credit and my good name be ruined by a computer error. And Dale is like, oh, computers don't make errors. What they do on purpose. And then Dale goes into a brief spiel about it. He says, by now your personal information has been uploaded into every mainframe, desktop, laptop, and produce scanner in the country in a coordinated system known as the Beast.
The Beast. We learn about the Beast. This is one of those things where, like, in retrospect, it's like, oh shit, Dale was right.
Yeah,
Dale was like this was a conspiracy theory at the time, but like
and
absolutely correct.
Cookies.
Yeah. Now we call it every corporation is listening to us and buying and selling our data.
And if you are listening, throw us a sponsorship.
Come on. We love you, corporations. You can sell us whatever you want. We'd fucking love that shit.
Sell the nephews whatever you got.
You can have all of their data. Everyone who watches the show, you're consenting to your data being sold to us. Send us your social security numbers.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dale tells Hank about the Beast, which is very funny. This is definitely an episode that I remember, and I remember this specific thing about Dale talking about the Beast pretty vividly.
Yeah. Hank says it's a high-tech boogeyman, and we get a really good line from Dale saying, computers have already beaten a communist at chess. Next, it will be a human.
Yes, I love that. I had that line written down as well.
So fucking funny.
So funny. We cut to Strickland, Propane. Hank gets a telemarketing call at his desk.
This is really funny.
This guy calls in and he's Matt. And this is the other character that David Herman is going to voice is Matt, the telemarketer. So this guy's like, hey, Hank, how's it going? It's Matt. And, Hank thinks he's getting a business call or something. He starts flipping his Rolodex.
Yep.
And
that,
like,
children,
hey,
is that's what people had before you could store contacts in your phone. Children.
You wrote them down.
You wrote them down.
Rolodex.
You just had business cards in there.
People still use cards. I got a card today, actually, from somebody. Yeah. So Hank thinks this is a business call, and then finally Hank is like, "Do I know you?" And Matt busts into his spiel. He's like, "Hank, if you liked Cuffed and Collars, you're gonna love Rugburn 2." And by Rugburn 2, I mean Rugburn also. Rugburn 2 wasn't very good.
He's from a company called Consenting Adults.
Yeah, this is Matt with Consenting Adults. America's, number one distributor of adult home entertainment. Hank gets very upset at this call and he says, watch your mouth. This is an interstate phone line. Like he thinks this guy's violating the Interstate Commerce Act for some reason.
And he says pornography out loud and all of his coworkers are eavesdropping, which is so funny.
He's like, where did you, I think Matt tells him that like they can beat the prices at Arlen Video. And he's like, did Arlen Video tell you I rent pornography? And that's what he says out
They're
loud.
all like,
but yes, it probably was Arlen Video that sold Hank's customer information.
I would assume so, yeah.
Either that or the person
Dale.
who rented the video under Hank's name maybe also purchased some
Well, I
stuff
don't think
under Hank's
that
name.
was the case. Or yeah, maybe it was. No, I don't think that was the case based on
Yeah.
the trial that we get later
Yeah,
on.
I didn't think so. The details of who actually did it get a little bit fuzzy, but yeah,
I think it
Hank's
might have been the store's
they
fault.
probably
It
they
might have
probably sold
actually,
his info.
I think it was an actual computer error that tape was tied to Hank's
Oh,
name.
you think so? We'll get into it a
Well,
little
yeah,
later on.
we'll talk about it after the trial scene.
Yeah, but now everybody here at Strickland knows that or thinks Hank has been watching propane, but then after or watching pornography, excuse me, propane.
He has been watching propane. That is correct.
Um, this was one of my favorite scenes here as we get the montage of the beast.
Yes.
So we see Matt's computer screen and he saves Hank's customer information. And then we get some nice, fun, busy work kind of
Yep.
music. And we see information and labels being created and a factory line of stuff being shipped out. So we get a nice montage of the beast spinning
The
up.
beast has been awoken.
And at the end of this montage, we see the Hills mailbox absolutely overflowing with magazines and ads and
Yes.
promotional
And
targeted mailers.
and dildos.
Mhm.
Right after this,
Deleted!
we do get a full deleted scene of Hank and
Ooh,
Peggy going to a credit restoration office
interesting.
and talking to an agent from this like company that helps you restore bad credit.
Oh,
So it's like Hank and Peggy sitting across from this guy. It's like a balding older guy in a suit. Um, he says, a man with your salary and narrow urethra shouldn't be renting more than one lewd video a month. And they're like, how did you find out about the narrow urethra? And that is just something that he learned because Hank's information was stolen. Like all of this
interesting.
information is just out there and accessible to people.
Okay.
He recommends that Hank just pay the fee. And Hank is like, what the fuck did we hire you for? Like your ad said, we'll fight for you.
That's so
Um,
funny.
and then Hank gets upset. The guy tells him he can't fight the computers. Hank goes to unplug his computer and accidentally unplugs his phone. The computer stays on, and Peggy is like, "Oh, Hank," and she unplugs the computer for him and turns
That's
it
funny.
off. Yeah, nice little
Nice.
deleted scene there.
Oh, nice. That is good. Um, oh, let's see. Yeah, here in
Back
front
in
of the
the alley
mailbox.
now.
Yeah, we're back in the alley. I had to flip pages. Um, Bill is disgusted by this, and he says, "Shame on you, Hank Hill." Gives him a lecture about how how what you do in the privacies of your own home is disgusting enough, but to let it spill out into the streets where my future children will play.
Yeah, he's tearing up.
Yes, Bill is disgusted, and he walks across the street, faces away from the guys, and just says, "Shame."
I did like
Um,
that.
Peggy says that I would love to vomit, but I have no clean clothes.
Yeah,
I would love to vomit on myself, but I have no clean clothes to change into.
she just wants
Um,
the fucking dryer.
she just wants the fucking dryer. Pay the fee, get this shit cleared up. Um, Dale is like, it's too late. The beast has him in his jaws. He says you should. He recommends starting over with a new identity. He says I can get you the birth certificate of a child who died in 1953. It's hardly been used. Um, Hank is very
He's
adamant.
offering to help Hank fake his own death.
Yes, he is very. That's a regular thing to offer. I feel like for Dale.
Yeah. Is this
Uh,
the first reference to Rusty Shackelford we
this I
get?
think is the first Rusty Shackelford.
I put
I
that in
believe
my
so.
notes.
I have it underlined. Yeah, Hank is like, I'm not a quitter. And Dale says, well, who's not a quitter? My dead friend Hank Hill or my new friend Rusty Shackelford?
And then
Um,
the school bus shows up.
yes, and Bobby is like, look at all those cards and gifts. Um, and
There's just
Hank,
it's such every time Bobby shows up is just like in the perfect moment
mhm,
where it's so good.
it's so good. The storylines all intertwine so nice. Our four storylines are so nicely interwoven here. Um, yeah, Peggy's like, don't get off the bus. Um, So we cut to the post office. Hank is trying to return all of these magazines and equipment, as he calls it. And he wants to be taken off of the mailing lists. And the mail clerk is like, sorry, we can't take you off the mailing list. You have to contact the company you bought your pornography from. Um, and Hank's
Everyone
like,
can
I
hear.
Hank's like, I didn't buy this. He puts it in the trash can, and then an old lady comes up here, which I think is where we get Cheryl here, because it
Did she
sounds like
do the old lady in the doctor's office in the
mhm.
the Hank's unmentionable problem episode?
Yes, and she also did the old lady in the office, or not the old lady in the office. She did the old lady in Snow Job recently.
Okay.
The the lady whose hands froze to her
Yeah.
walker.
It's like the same character model too, but
Mhm.
I put a note that she sounded exactly like the lady who calls
Yeah,
him Hanky, who was like his fourth grade teacher or
yeah.
something.
I'm pretty sure that's our gal, but
Okay.
she's
Hell
just
yeah.
uncredited as far as IMDb goes. But it had to be her.
Shout out Cheryl.
Um, yeah, she's like, "What's wrong, Mister Hank Hill? Do you not want to prolong your love making for pennies on the dollar?" Um,
And then
and
Boomhauer hits on the sexy post lady.
yeah, he's like, the lady is
Oh,
like, "Do
now
you?"
dang old sex toys.
Yeah, she's like, "Do you know him?" And he's like, "I don't know him at all. Just some old crazy man talking about, sex toys later at my place if you're interested."
And I bet
So
she
funny.
did.
And Hank is upset that Boomhauer is turning his back on him. He's like, I don't need Bill in this. He doesn't have a dog in this fight, but you, Boomhauer, I thought you were on my side. Um,
Yeah.
Hank is then, says loudly to the post office, like, if I don't fight this, it could be you next. So Hank is starting to get very frustrated and really wants to take his stand because he's not a quitter. He has good credit. He doesn't rent porn.
Yep.
Um, Hank's going to go a little crazy in this second act. This is kind of where it starts of him
Yep.
going crazy. Dale has a very funny line at the end of the scene where he says, after Hank is getting on to Boomhauer for turning his back on him, Dale is like, "You should have seen this coming, Hank. One by one, your friends will desert you, and I'll be next."
Which
Uh,
is a little bit
Next
of
scene.
foreshadowing for the
Mhm.
next scene.
Yeah, we cut to the dump, and Hank is like, "Dale, the beast is made up, right?" And Dale is like, "No, it's all been foretold in Revelations." Uh, do you do you know anything about conspiracies involving the beast or the mark of the beast, Brad?
Not in relation to this, no.
Okay, so there is, and I remember this vividly because I grew up in a church and went to youth group.
Mm,
There is a
lucky.
conspiratorial belief. Yeah, thank you. So lucky. There's a conspiratorial belief that barcodes are a mark of the beast, so-called mark of the beast. You're familiar with the number
Yeah.
666.
Yeah, I listened to Iron Maiden, dude.
Mm-hmm. 666. The
The
number.
number of the beast.
Yeah, exactly. So there is an actual belief that some people think that barcodes are part of the mark of the beast because when you scan barcode UPC codes, and I don't know if this is still the thing, but it was back in the 90s, every UPC barcode had the numbers 666 in it. It was like
Wow,
part
dude.
of how their codes and things were read. So there was a sect of
People,
people. I remember it being talked about once. I think we had like a guest pastor. It might have been like a guest
what?
musical group that came in, and I remember them talking about like never getting a tattoo of a barcode, or like never letting yourself like have a barcode attached to you, and that's still, that belief kind of carries in today, actually, into like all this Q shit about people um,
Ah,
thinking that there's like microchips in vaccines. This is,
yeah.
all of that
Well,
is
that's
tied
true,
into,
right?
that's all like the mark of the beast tied in with this
Wow.
technology type of thing. So this was a very interesting episode. Like, one, the beast is a functioning commerce machine. Like, it will try to sell you stuff, but also
Yeah,
there
there's a
is
lot of truth in that side. But yeah, I guess
mhm,
as humans do, some people take it a little
yeah,
down the crazy route.
yeah, but there is actually some real world,
Barcodes? I've never heard of that. That's
yeah,
so fucking stupid.
there's some real world conspiracy out there involving
Wow.
this. Yeah, and Dale says it was foretold in Revelations, which is where you find the mark of the beast stuff, is in Revelations, obviously.
Got it.
Anyways, so we're at the dump. Hank is like, "Is the beast real?" Dale says, "Yeah, it's real." The cops pull up, and Hank is like, "It's the Vice Squad. They must have followed us." Um,
And Dale is
uh,
gone.
Dale is gone.
Dale is already gone.
Hank's like, "Help me bury this," and Dale is gone. He took the
This
truck
is,
and drove off.
yeah, the second time that Dale has just immediately, we had it in week at condo
Where he jumps the
And
board
then
and leaves
again, where
him.
Dale just like fully high and dry the second shit hits the fan.
He'll do it many more times in this
Yeah,
show.
so good.
Uh,
But yeah, that's where the foreshadowing comes in. He
yeah,
very quickly, he'll
the
be
cop
next, and it'll be soon.
the cop pulls up and gets on to Hank about burying the wrong kind of waste.
Yeah.
He's like that Astroglide is petroleum based. You can't dump that here, and you can't dump the batteries in your vibrator.
Now
And
that
Hank's
is
like
a wand massager.
the wand
Okay.
massager.
And then Hank evades a police officer
He
for the second
does.
time this season.
He did in Halloween, yeah. Or no,
Oh,
he didn't
three
run.
times.
No, I don't think he ran from the
Condo?
cops in Halloween. Oh yeah,
Condo. He did
Condo.
run from the cops in Halloween.
No, he
Him
ran.
and Bobby did.
No, that wasn't the cops though. That was what's her name.
No, that was the
The
cops also. Well, yeah, I guess it
no,
was her,
the
and then
cops
the
showed
cops
up to
showed
his
up at the
house.
house.
Hmm
Yeah. I'll still count it. Third time.
Yeah, the
My man.
I ain't never ran from them but the police. Northside Long Beach.
He
Shout
also
out.
assaults this police officer,
Deleted.
and
He
there's
does.
there's an alternate scene where instead of just spraying the like lube foam shit,
Hmm
he also throws down a bunch of anal beads
That's fucking
as ball
hilarious.
bearings to trip the police officer.
I can see how that would get cut by the censors.
Yeah.
Um, before he runs, though, what causes him to run is the cop asks for his license so that I can look you up in the
In the
computer.
computer.
And
Yeah.
Hank is like, computer. Hank is like, I don't have my license, but I can tell you that I was born in 1953, and I was
I didn't
very.
catch that. It was the
He says I was very ill as a child, and then he runs. So yeah,
Oh, that's really good.
he starts to use Rusty Shackelford's details.
That's excellent.
But he does run back to the truck, so
Yeah.
Dale hasn't completely abandoned him. But yeah, we cut over to the house, and Bobby and Luann are practicing surprise,
Yeah.
which was very
Excellent.
cute and fun.
So Luann fully believes at this point.
Yeah. We see Peggy driving her car, and she's singing Queen of Hearts to herself. It's
Playing with
fun.
the Queen of Hearts.
Hearts.
I know she
You know,
isn't
she isn't
very
very
smart. Did you look into this song?
I didn't actually look at Queen of Hearts.
I did. It's a really
heard it
weird
a whole
fucking
lot.
song. And this lady's name who does this song, her name is Juice Newton. And the music video for this song is fucking hilarious.
Juicy Newton?
Juice Newton.
Juice Newton. No,
Shout out.
I've heard the song a bunch, so that's why I
Yeah.
didn't look into it because I already knew what the song was.
It's kind of an annoying ass song. They repeat the chorus like 14 times.
It's also kind of rude that they call the Queen of Hearts not very smart.
I know she isn't very smart.
It's funny that Peggy likes that song though.
Yeah, yeah. But she notices that she drives by the video store and notices Hank looking very disheveled,
Very disheveled.
standing in the bed of his truck protesting.
He's got a sign that says I hate Arlen. Or no, what does his sign say? Yeah,
It says like don't go to or don't shop at Arlen Video.
Yeah. The other day, Rachel and I were getting some coffee, and we parked next to a car, and I looked next to it, and it had a sign taped to a window that said like "Don't shop at Pep Boys on Memorial," and I was like, okay.
Wow, there's a story there.
We saw some folks getting back into their car, and they were some way older folks, and I was like, man, they probably got ripped at Pep Boys or think they got ripped off at Pep Boys. And
I recently got ripped off by a mechanic. Should I drag them?
Maybe.
Most mechanic shops are rip-offs.
Yeah, we're at Arlen Video, and we get the nice shot. I really liked the framing of this scene whenever Peggy sees Hank, because we see her get out of the car, and we see it through her window, which I thought was cool. There's a lot of really nice cinematography in this episode. The montage, the opening, this one here where we see it like through the car window, and they
the shot of Hank taking his underwear and Luann standing there behind him. Yeah.
But Hank is like, Peggy, thank God you're here. And then he goes, my name is Hank Hill, and I'd like you to sign my petition. Which, like, of course, that's your wife. Peggy is like, this is crazy. Like, just pay this and like, let's move on with our lives. And Hank is like, no, he's taking Arlen Video to small claims court. He says he's putting the whole system on trial. But yeah, he's looking real crazy. Peggy is like, what do I have to do to get through to you? Do I have to take off my clothes and dance like the women in your movies? And
She
she like,
does like a funky little movement. Yeah, she totally thinks that he rented the video.
she definitely thinks he rented the video, and
Yeah.
she's going to get some confirmation later, maybe. But yeah,
That
that's our.
oh, yeah.
If yeah, Peggy is like, if you wanna fight this or whatever, you're on your own. And
Yeah.
we see them close Arlen video. They put the close sign on, the lights go off, and it's Hank. It's Hank against the world as we go into our second commercial break.
Yep. We come back to Hank
Mhm.
asleep
Asleep on the lawn with a
next to the mailbox.
sign that says honk if you hate Arlen video. He gets woken up by a honk. Dale is like, oh man, his trial is tomorrow, and he's only got 6 honks and 1 signature, and that's on his leg. Dang
Yep.
taggers, which I thought was very funny.
They're all standing there just watching him and judging him.
Yep,
And
they
I
get
do
a
like they all say something and then we get a oh yeah from Peggy
yep,
and she's replaced Hank. She's drinking a
yeah,
beer with the boys.
yeah. We get a yep, who yeah. Yeah, I really liked that Peggy is hanging out with the guys, and they're
Yeah.
just judging. Um, Another car drives by. We hear a honk, and it's actually just John Redcorn there to pick up Nancy.
Nancy does her little like quick shuffle out and hops in the car
Mhm.
and they drive away super quickly. And
Yeah, Dale just absolutely laughs so hard at Hank.
at Hank,
At
which is
Hank,
so funny. It's the
he's
second time this episode that he's like directed something towards Hank when it's like
the joke is
in
on
direct
Dale.
relation to Dale being cheated on by his
Mhm.
wife.
Yeah, so funny.
So
The
good.
early season cucking of Dale is so good.
Yeah. Excellent.
Um, yeah, so we get a scene here. Some mysterious music plays, and we
Yep.
see a gloved hand leaves a stack of tapes and a letter on the door.
I wonder
Um,
who it could be.
I wonder who it could be. Bobby's gonna find them though. Did you see the names of the titles on this stack here?
Was one of them cuffs and collars?
It's Cuffs and Collars. It's Jailbait, which they're going to talk about later. There's
Yeah.
also Hung Jury, and the worst name for this cop themed porno collection here, Illegal Entry.
Ooh.
It's going to get a little dicey in some other portions of this as we go
Yikes.
forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's this stack of pornos here and a letter. Bobby finds it, comes into the kitchen. He's like, "Hey, look what mom got me. Or look what dad got me. It's a whole lot of cop movies." And Peggy just absolutely freaks
Yeah.
out.
Now
And
she fully thinks it's Hank.
because there's more porno on the doorstep, and she's like, how could you let Bobby see these degrading movies that are so disrespectful to law enforcement officials? um Bobby's like, don't worry, I didn't read the letter. Peggy's like, Bobby, forget you ever saw this. The letter is cut out magazine
Yeah,
anonymous
like a
style.
ransom note.
It says like, Hank, I believe you, the answer is in the tapes, signed a friend.
Yep.
He flips it over, and on the back it says, "P.S. I need these back when you're done, a friend." Um,
My
I thought,
thought, I didn't remember this episode at all. My immediately thought was, this is Bill.
yeah, you thought so. I think,
Yeah.
I think I didn't remember who actually had done it, but I recall thinking it was Bill whenever I saw this as well. I was like, well, who else could it be?
Yeah.
So yeah, Hank is gonna some low down music starts to play, and Hank
This
is
is the best scene in the whole episode.
Hank is gonna draw the blinds and shut things. He's gonna put the family portrait down, which has Luann taped onto it. Yeah, Hank's about to do some quote unquote research.
This is
Yeah.
so funny.
It's
He puts
research
on the
time.
porn,
He puts on
and
the porn.
he's taking notes. He's immediately disgusted by it, which is hilarious. It like
He's in the
pains him
bed.
to see.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh God!" It starts in, and it's like, "I'm the plumber. Where's the leak?" And he's like, "Oh God."
We get one of my favorite quotes was, "Are you a mounted police?" And the girl responds and says, "Not yet, but a girl can dream."
But a girl can dream.
And
Which
he's
Hank
watching it
zeroes
for a
in on.
while. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's
Um,
watching it for a while and it shows the 12 o'clock flashing on the VCR
mhm,
and then it cuts as if a bunch of time has passed and it still says 12 o'clock flashing on the
mhm.
VCR.
For our younger listeners, if your power went off with your VCR plugged in, well,
Yeah.
you might know this
Just
from
think
like your
like
stove.
oven,
Yeah, your stove.
microwave. Yeah.
It'll just
Yeah.
reset, and that's what's
Same
happened
vibe.
here with the
There was like
VCR.
a digital clock on all of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought this whole scene was very funny, but Hank's pen is going to run out of ink, and so he's going to start shaking his pen to get the ink back,
Yeah.
and he's
Peggy
kind of
walks
doing it
in
down by his lap, and we see Peggy, yeah, come to the door, and she sees Hank, and she is immediately like
and
almost
Hank
throwing
doesn't
up.
hear. She runs away. Chris,
Mhm.
Deleted.
maybe the best
Mm.
deleted scene that we have actually no. I
Tease
will say
us.
definitely. I'm going to try to screen cap this from my
Okay.
DVD.
Okay.
We get
Send me the pic when you get it.
an alternate scene of Peggy's viewpoint.
Okay. Because we don't actually see, I recalled in this episode that we don't actually see
Yeah.
from Peggy's viewpoint, which I thought would have made sense for the 90s that they wouldn't
Yeah.
have shown him from the back moving his arm like
Which
that.
in the alternate scene, Hank is shaking the pen a lot harder and he is more hunched over. And we get
Mhm.
a view from Peggy's of Hank just like hunched over from behind, like vigorously shaking
Yeah.
the pen.
That's
And it is
hilarious.
so funny. I like
That's
almost spit out my drink when I saw it. I
that's
wish that they had
hilarious.
included that, but I will certainly find a screenshot and it will be on the screen.
I actually did note that they did not show us that scene from Peggy's point of view, and my thought was, well, the censors probably wouldn't have allowed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
second deleted scene where I can understand why it didn't
Mhm.
make the final cut here.
But
But excellent joke.
yeah, very funny joke. Peggy is going to yell, "Bobby, get out of the house!"
Yeah.
And Bobby just is like, "Okay."
It feels like every scene we're getting at least one little line in
Mhm.
reference to Bobby. Like I don't think there's a single scene where we don't get at least something of Bobby further
Mhm.
just solidifying that he thinks he's like getting a party and they're planning his birthday. It's
Yes,
so well written.
so good. Um, yeah. Then we cut to Bobby getting his hair cut by Luann,
Yeah.
and Bobby is like, "They told us to be out of the house for 3 hours. That means my party is definitely today."
Yeah.
And Luann is like, "Well, that means the haircut is free, but I'm still supposed to charge you for the shampoo."
Yeah.
Um,
Which doesn't make
yeah.
any sense because it's not actually his birthday.
We cut back to Hank doing his research, and that line comes up again. A girl can dream, and that is
Yeah.
Hank's kind of aha breakthrough moment. He's like, yes, that's it. He jots it down in his notebook,
Yeah.
pauses it, and he takes a Polaroid photo of the screen, and some music starts to play. So Hank has made a breakthrough in his quote unquote research.
Yeah.
We're going to cut over to the court. This is actually going to be a guest star for us, a
Ah.
guest voice here. Besides Billy West, which we already have on this episode, playing the judge is going to be Lynn Thigpen. She is an actress. She got her start in. She is deceased now. She passed in 2013.
Oh,
So
bless up.
R.I.P. to Lynn Thigpen. But she got her start in on Broadway. She was in the original cast of Godspell, and also in the theatrical version of it. But she is very well known for. She was on the soap opera All My Children for a very long time.
Mm.
She also played a reoccurring character in the animated Carmen Sandiego shows,
Mm.
if you remember those at all. Um, she won a Tony for An American Daughter.
Mm.
She was also in Anger Management, and that film was released
The Adam
posthumous
Sandler
for her.
movie?
The Adam Sandler and
Ah.
what's his name? Crazy guy, Jack
Jack
Nichols.
Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack
Also, I
Nicholson.
believe Marissa Tomei is in that movie.
Maybe.
Marissa Tomei alert.
Well, so is Lynn Thigpen. Excuse me. Her
Wow.
actual name is Sherilyn, I believe. But yeah, Lynn Thigpen.
All right, bless up and R.I.P.
Yes. So she's our other guest star here, but she's like, Mr. Hill, you're here because you allege that you have been the victim of systematic harassment at the hands of an international computer conspiracy known as the Beast. And Hank is like, I
Hank
didn't
Hill versus the Beast.
versus the beast. He's putting the whole system on trial.
Yeah.
The clerk is back in the courtroom. We don't hear anything from him here, but he's in the
Yeah.
courtroom.
I love that he's representing the entire, I'm assuming
Corporation.
like maybe it's an independently owned video store if
Yeah,
it's just
maybe.
like Arlen Video Store, but is he the owner?
No, who knows?
Yeah.
He's defending them. It is just small claims court after all.
Yeah.
Where he's putting this trial on, but Hank is like, yeah, I did not rent this tape and I can prove it. We cut back to the house
Yeah. This is
of
great.
Bobby and Luann coming home and looking for the surprise party.
Yeah.
Luann opens the door and shouts surprise, and Bobby jumps in and goes like, "Yike!"
And then they go to his room and then
Yeah,
they open the closet
yeah.
and there's nothing.
Well, they don't. We don't actually see him open the closet.
Yeah, they just
They
go to open the closet.
they
Yeah.
open his room and he busts in again and goes like, "Yike!" So we cut back over to the court, and we're in the middle of Hank's defense, so to speak, and he says,
Yeah.
in cuffs and collars, actress Dee Dee Cup, which is very funny. Her name is Double D Cup.
And also
Uh,
Dee Dee,
yeah.
which is his stepmom's name.
Oh yes, Dee Dee Cup.
Yeah.
Dee Dee Cup bends over to shoe her horse, and we see a tattoo on her left butt cheek that reads "I heart Charlie Sheen." So Hank presents some evidence, and then he goes on to say, now in Jailbait, the film Jailbait, and this is where the joke gets a little tacky, and I didn't necessarily like this joke, felt a little rough. He says that Jailbait marks the return of veteran porn actress Fernanda Valley to the adult entertainment industry on the occasion of her 18th birthday.
Oh God.
So the joke here about this film is that this actress has come back because she
Yeah.
is 18. Little rough on that one.
Didn't quite catch that. Kind of glad I
No.
didn't.
Yeah, I did, and I was like, oh,
But
gross.
also like kind of a little on the nose, but it's
little rough.
apt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dark industry. Anywho, yeah, they say that in Jailbait, which features Dee Dee Cup makes an uncredited cameo. Hank
Yeah.
says Hank was really paying attention to this porn.
He's an expert.
Yeah, Dee Dee Cup makes an uncredited cameo in Jailbait, and she bends over to shoe her donkey this time. She shoe
Yeah.
a horse in cuffs and collars, so she's going to
Yeah.
shoe a donkey in Jailbait. And he sees that there is no tattoo on her butt cheek in Jailbait, which means that Jailbait was made before Cuffs and Collars.
Yes, logically we would have to assume.
He says that Jailbait was made on, Fernanda Valley's 18th birthday is this date, and therefore, I could not have rented the tape. And so he gets a breakthrough, and everybody kind of starts clapping, and the judge rules in his favor. The judge says that, Arlen Video shall erase the debt from its computer. And then she also says, let the record show that Hank Hill really knows his pornography. Which is very funny. Everyone is hugging and celebrating.
And Hank is like happy about that.
He is. Hank's very proud because he defended himself. He defended himself successfully in small claims court. He's not a quitter. He doesn't rent porn. He has good credit. We see a hand pick up the stack of videos, and it is Bill.
So I was right.
You were right. So I guess here's a good time to talk about who rented the tape under Hank's name.
Do you think it could have been Bill?
I think that it was Bill that has rented this under Hank's name, and the reason that I think this is because the stack of videos that he has are all the black boxes.
Yeah.
When you would get from a video store, you wouldn't have the cover of the movie.
When you would get porn movies from the video store, Chris?
I don't rent pornography.
I watch it for free online like a
free,
normal fucking person.
Idiot.
I didn't think of that, but I think that could make sense. But how does that explain the whole date thing?
They're content creators. I'm supporting them. Yeah, the date thing doesn't make. I guess the date thing could be
that's what led me to
makes
believe that
sense.
it was actually a computer error. Like if he rented the movie before the movie released,
Yeah, that does
Then
make
it would
sense.
have to be a computer error, right?
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I just thought it was Bill that maybe did it because they're all the black boxes like that you would actually get from the rental store. It wouldn't,
Yeah.
be the real VHS box. But I
I
could
think that's the
see,
funniest option, is it
I,
being Bill doing it.
I could see Bill just not actually buying his pornography from a like an adult store or something. I could
Yeah.
see him renting it from places under people's names and then
And
just
keeping
keeping
it.
them.
Yeah.
That definitely
I
seems
don't
like a
think
Bill
Bill
thing.
would. I think Bill is too, like, he likes Hank too much. He wouldn't wrong Hank in that way.
Yeah, good point. I think you're right. It probably was an
Who
error,
knows?
but yeah, Hank
Chime in the
defends
comments. Who
himself.
do you think it was?
Who do you think rented the porno? Um, we Peggy is like, finally, we can put this behind us, and Hank is like, this isn't over yet. We have one thing left to do. Cut over to Megalomart, and
Yep.
there's some suspense as they're talking to the salesperson. And finally, it's credit approved. Hank Hill smiley face.
Ooh, smiley face.
The dryer is yours. So Hank has won. We cut back over to the front of the house.
Everything is resolved except Bobby's
Mhm.
birthday.
Bobby is sad because he's like, I can't believe my parents forgot my birthday. And Luanna's like, it's okay. They still have a whole month to remember because it's not actually Bobby's birthday yet.
Yep.
And then we see the cars rolling in. Everyone's honking because they're, happy that Hank won in court.
Yeah.
Bobby thinks this is for him, though. And they pull up, and Bobby's like, wow, a dryer. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
And Hank is like, yes, it is, son.
And Bobby hugs the dryer.
Bobby hugs the dryer. And that is the end of our episode.
That is it.
Fun note here on the outro music. It is a fun, funky 70s porno style.
I did make a note of that. Really good, sexy outro music.
It's like
Wow.
It's very good. But yeah, we got a nice wrap up. Four storylines all wrapped up really nicely. Should we just go ahead and step out back, man?
I think we ought to step into the alley, brother.
We shall.
I'm gonna buy you a drink.
This, of course, is a segment where we rank the episode out of 6 Alamo beers. I really did enjoy this one. Season 2 has been mostly hits.
Yes.
Not a qualm in sight on this episode.
No qualms for me. I'm gonna go ahead and declare this one a 6 for myself.
Yes. And I will be keeping right up with you.
Yeah. I think it's got great rewatchability. I think this would be if somebody has never seen King of the Hill, this would be a great one to show them. It's got a lot of fun, nostalgia for the video store and everything. But yeah, the 4 storylines all being tied up nicely. We see all the characters, all the main, we see everybody in the family.
Yeah, we get a little bit of everybody. Maybe not like a lot of Joseph and Connie, and like no Supernewson but it was very, like, they did really well with the characters that we had.
It felt super rich.
Yeah, very, very well balanced episode from like an A plot, B plot situation. Then we had some kind of like subplots to all of that, and they all tied together and tied up so nicely at the end. So many good throwaway gags. The running away from the cop. The Rusty Shackelford mention, basically all of Bill's.
The first Shackelford.
Yeah.
I
highly recommend the rated R deleted scene watching of it to get the shot of Hank vigorously jerking off.
And the anal beads that the cop
the
trips
anal
on.
bead,
That's hilarious.
Ball bearings. So good. So
There's
good.
also a deleted scene of Luann's underwear where it's not wearing any underwear.
There is?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what
Where
she
did
said
you find that?
I'm just kidding. Oh, wait.
That's on the OnlyFans version of the episode.
That was not Hulu.
That was a dream that you had, I think.
Wet ass.
The dream I'm having right now.
Hey.
Yeah,
it's a
great.
6. It's a
Sixer
6
for
for
sure.
me. Not much more to say there, I think, right?
Pretty good. Yeah. Loved it.
Do we just step right on out into our last segment?
I think we do it.
Yeah, let's crown our Hill Kings, the MVP of the episode. Do you have anyone in mind?
Man, this was tough. And I
Yeah.
sometimes I go into this thinking like, okay, I know who I think I'm gonna pick, but I'll see like what Brad says, and maybe that'll like change my minds. This one was really, really tough
Yeah.
to nail down for me.
I think I know who I'm going with.
Okay, you go ahead first because I'm
I
torn
think,
between two.
yeah, I'm torn between a few, but I think the obvious choice is Juice Newton.
Juice Newton,
Technically in the episode, because we
writer
heard
and
her.
singer of Queen of Hearts.
Yes, I'm gonna go with my gal Juice.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Just in not being able to pick anyone else. So
Yeah,
tied.
it was so hard to pick, and I love that little throwaway of Peggy singing that song.
Yeah.
And that song
I
has been stuck in my head like pretty
I,
much all day. So
I
Juice
could
it
have
is.
I could have sworn you were gonna pick Underwear Luann.
Yeah, I thought about that, but
Lu-
I haven't picked Luann this season yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Have I picked Luann? I don't know if she's been
You
picked yet.
no. The only
Hmm.
person who has been Jeff
Hmm.
on episode 2, and he did call her Leanne.
Yes. Leanne
Yeah.
Saga coming up soon. Um,
Yeah. Next
okay.
episode?
I think no, no, it's two
No, next
episodes from now.
episode's a cotton episode.
Yes. The final Shinsault is next, but I
Yes.
think for my Hill King, I'm gonna go ahead and take Bobby. I think.
Nice.
Um,
Good choice.
Bobby's got our straight man storyline. I love it whenever Bobby is misunderstanding something. I feel like the I think people are planning a surprise birthday for me thing is
Yeah.
kind of a trope storyline.
Yeah. Him in
And I
the
like how they
Megalomart
handled
was
it.
really funny.
Yes. Yeah, all of his lines very funny, but yeah, I liked what he was doing for the episode. He was
Yeah.
definitely the palate cleanser for everything that was going on. And it was like there'd be something really porny happening, and then Bobby would
Yeah.
show up, and yeah,
Yeah.
he was a real he was my favorite.
Yeah.
I
And
almost went with
Luann contributed to that really well too.
yeah, she definitely was his sidekick for the episode. I almost went with Hank,
Yeah.
just because he really went through it. You know, he stood his ground, and this was one. I think this was one episode where Hank digging his heels in didn't actually really hurt or affect any other characters.
Well, he won the day.
Yeah, well, sometimes he's really hard headed, and
Yeah.
it like comes at the detriment to other
But in this
characters.
episode, he was just
He's the only
hard.
he's the only one who's farmed really, besides Peggy.
Yeah.
Peggy Peggy does go through it in this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm picking Bobby just for his storyline.
Love it. I love it. Well, one Juice Newton and one Bobby on the board.
I'm gonna go listen.
And that'll do it for this here episode. We're 17 episodes in, brother.
We're around in the corner on the home stretch.
We're coming up on the end of season 2. What do we got next week? We have a cotton episode. Final Shinsault.
Cotton and Dale. It's a fun one.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. We haven't gotten that team up yet.
Yes, it's a nice duo pairing. It's a good one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Anything before we wrap up here, my friend?
I got nothing. Nothing else, man. It's a good app.
Nothing. All right. Well, we'll just remind y'all to subscribe.
If anybody has seen Galactic Gigolos,
I will be ordering it on VHS and checking it out. Maybe I'll
also,
report back.
Maybe we should start a like shitty movies referenced in King of the Hill watch club or something.
Yeah. Bonus episodes. Yeah.
Who knows?
If anyone's interested in that, we'd love to hear from you. Send us memes.
We're gonna watch Galactic Gigolo anyways, but
yeah. Go to @HillKingsPod on Instagram. You can chat with us there. If you have any sort of recommendations or guests that you would like us to reach out to have on the show, we're always open to that. Obviously, you can see us over here on YouTube. If you're listening on audio, make sure you subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. Nothing less than that. And you can see on our Instagram the visuals from This Week in Arlen. If you don't want to watch on video, that'll do it for this week. We will catch y'all next time for episode 18.
Ooh. Trying to to see if I can. Oh man, Galactic Gigolo is on YouTube.
It is?
Yeah, it is. It's on YouTube with ads.